All right, so I need you to tell me, is there a difference in work ethic between the older generations, boomers, Gen X, and maybe some of the older millennials versus the younger generation? Younger generations, man, I need you to listen up for a second, okay? Because I don't want to get too caught up in the whole Gen X, millennial, Gen Z war thing. But, man, this is what a whole lot of Gen Xers are complaining about. I had this happen to me at work this week. All right, so I'm a fabricator welder for a company that's got about 250 people that work for it. We make a lot of things for semiconductor plants to on down to mom and pop cafes and diners. Earlier this week, okay, and I'm not going to say any names or anything like that, but earlier this week, a very young millennial or an older Gen Z or whatever the youngest generation is, asked me a question. He had built this $3,000 table. Take him a day and a half or whatever to build a $3,000 table, and he notices at the very end, just before he sends it on its way to be shipped, he notices a 3 to 4 inch scratch in it. And he says, "Hey, bro, what would you do about this?" I feel like the question doesn't need to be asked, but I play along and I go over and I say, it's just a scratch, about a $3,000 table. I don't know, bro. I figure a table like this is probably going into the kitchen of a small diner that was just purchased by a couple who had busted their ass for 40 years, saving every penny they can so that they could retire, purchase their own diner, and live their dream out, bringing joy to the community they grew up in. So, yeah, send it, man. Screw them. They deserve a scratch on the top of their stuff. He listens to me run this all down, and it was actually more extensive than that. And then he smirks, and he goes, "I'm picking up the sarcasm." And I'm like, good, because I'm laying it on pretty thick and thick, man. And this annoys the hell out of me. So I pull him up later on. I'm like, why the hell wouldn't you just fix the scratch? You know the scratch needs to be fixed. You know we can't put product out like that. And he says, well, they don't pay me enough to be fixing scratches like that all the time. Okay, and so here's my biggest issue with all of this. Whether you fix the scratch or you move to the next project, you're still working. So what's the difference? Just fix the thing so we put out the best product possible. So to me, this whole situation goes to the character of the individual working, okay? The younger mindset, not always, okay, not everybody does this, but the younger mindset is, screw the man, they don't pay me enough, so I'm not going to do a good job. Whereas the older generation doesn't look at the man. We might complain about the man not paying us enough, and believe me, they don't, okay? And it's annoying as hell. However, the product that I'm putting out is going to whoever. It's going to that husband and wife that just retired and they want everything perfect in their little diner. I'm building it for them, not for this freaking stupid company, okay? And it doesn't matter to me who the hell I'm building it for. I want to give the best product that they can get, okay? And if my company doesn't pay me enough for the value I bring to them, then I'll leave that company. But I don't purposely put something out that's going to somebody else who actually wants and needs this to be nice. It makes no sense to do that. What so many of this younger generation don't seem to realize is that you really get paid for the value you bring to the company. And if you don't work harder on yourself and your character and how you are as a human being, I don't know that you're going to get paid more, especially when you're sitting around bitching half the time. So work harder on yourself than you do at your company. But you're not working on yourself, bro. You're trying to put out some half-ass product to some couple that's retired and buying a new table and so happy to start their dream business, and you're giving them shit is what you're giving them. I mean, that type of character right there. Why? Because your boss didn't pay you enough? How about you go talk to your boss and tell him to pay you more? How about you do something else about it, but don't hurt the end result of that couple who's trying to do something with their life because you're pouting because, who knows, Elon Musk or Bill Gates made a couple $1 billion in the last month. So at the end of the day, from my perspective, it comes down to character and it comes down to integrity, man. And this individual in that moment was not acting with integrity because he doesn't like the company that he works for. He doesn't think the company he works for pays him enough. Regardless of the veracity of that statement, even if the company doesn't pay you enough, why are you harming the end result down the line? To me, that makes no sense. And I'm not talking about striking. I'm talking about a literal something somebody built, you notice a flaw in it, and you decide to give it to the customer anyway. That makes no sense to me. To me, I just have more integrity than that, and I would never do that to somebody. But so many in the younger generation just don't have that level of character. They don't have that inside them. They say, screw the other person because I'm not being paid enough. And so to wrap this up with a bow, I want to scoot forward 8 hours in that shift after that guy asked me that. And he comes up to me at the end of the night while we're cleaning up, and he says, you know, if you weren't here, I would have pushed that to QC. And I asked him why. And he says, because the company does not pay me enough. And I told him that it does not matter how much the company pays you. If they pay you $5 more an hour, $10 more an hour, $20 more an hour, this is part of who you are right now. You're lazy. And to this individual's credit, he recognizes that he's lazy. He knows that he's lazy. He tells me the reason he's lazy is because they don't pay him enough, and then that's why he's lazy, but also because he has a low self-esteem and low sense of self-worth. So he is self-aware enough to know that he has a low sense of self-worth, which sucks. But it's evident in everything he does, because every project he puts out, he's constantly asking me or somebody else, hey, look at this. This is good, isn't it? And he needs that validation. And I am telling him once a week, hey, man, don't seek validation. Don't seek your sense of self-worth from somebody else, from somebody like me or anybody else on the line here, or the bosses. Okay, get your sense of self-worth from who you are as a human being. And the way that you can build that up is simply by doing things with integrity and value. And it's going to take a long time, because we all got a lot of bad habits up here, and these synapses are created that are very difficult to break, but they can be broken. And he is a good human being as far as human beings go. His work ethic is just horrible right now, and he's wiped out. I don't care what the excuse is, though. Okay, hurting somebody else down the line because you don't like something somebody's doing to you just keeps the cycle and perpetuates this cycle of whatever it is. Okay, I really don't care for it. That being said, I like the hell out of the guy. Okay, and please understand, he fully knows I'm putting up this video. He fully knows I've talked to him about all of this. We've had these legit conversations, and he's trying to do better now. And I'm talking to the boss, trying to get him more money. Okay, and telling him and catching him before he makes a mistake, saying, hey bro, you need to do this instead. Okay, don't do that right there, do this instead, so that he can fix it so the boss doesn't see it. Because I am trying to get him more money. I think he deserves more money, but he's still way too lazy. And hope that changes. But sorry, back to the original point. I feel like a whole lot more Gen Xers work a whole lot harder than a lot of the younger generations. That being said, we've got Gen Xers at my own work that are as lazy as they come. They feel like they're entitled because I've been here 25 years. I shouldn't have to do that, and that type of crap bothers me also, but that's a whole different video. Please let me know how you feel on the dichotomy between different generations, boomers and Gen Xers, maybe older millennials in one group, all the other younger ones in the other group. How do you feel the work ethic is? Peace and hair grease.